I love reality TV shows. Always have, always will. It's basically the only genre of television I've been watching these days. From Love Island to Survivor to Hell's Kitchen and Gordon Ramsay's insane collection of reality TV shows. I don't care how many times this man reheats these nachos. If he's cooking, I will be eating. So today we're gonna bring the chaos to The Sims 4 and we'll be building a villa inspired by popular reality TV shows. And this build is gonna be crazy. I have quite a few out there ideas that are really gonna take it there. So to start off this build, the exterior is going to mostly be for Love Island. To show where a bunch of hot singles searching for love move into a villa together, they all couple up, and as you can imagine, things get messy really quick. So for our build, we're going to be building in Sulani today. This is a 50 by 50 lot, so it's a pretty big size. And the Love Island villa actually really intrigues me in terms of like architecture and set design, because the majority of it is filmed in this back area outside here, which is wide open. All of these upper and lower parts are open. So our actual shell for the interior rooms isn't going to be all that big or that interesting. It'll basically just look like this. Up there we'll have bedrooms and there's like a get ready room up there. So our main focus is going to be all down at the bottom here. So we get like a big long flooring piece all the way down like this. And we'll also be focusing on these upper areas. So I'm going to start building out some decks just with my grid on and using a flooring piece like this. I'm going to add it on there and just bring it across. And then there's a really big long section over here to the left. I definitely know I'm going to be going with platform roofing because pretty much all of the roofing on this villa is flat. And by the way, if you have not seen Love Island or any of the other shows that we're going to be talking about today, don't worry, I'm going to be inserting a bunch of reference pictures. So even if you haven't seen it, it's going to be a really cool, colorful, and fun build in The Sims 4. There's a section of the roofing that goes like this. It's very narrow. This looks absolutely ridiculous right now, but I'm going to raise up that platform and then we're going to add some platform trim. Just something plain and white like this. And we'll polish that off with a base game trim along the bottom. I'll add some trim along that second floor just so it's easier to see. And for now, I'm also going to start closing these off with fencing from Businesses and Hobbies. This one has little fairy lights along it. It's kind of perfect for this aesthetic. And then obviously this looks super weird right now because we don't have any columns holding it up. So I think I'm going to take these columns from spot A and I'm going to add them underneath anywhere where we need that support. So I have all of my columns added. I'm also just going in and adding like one single wall, and I'm going to use these columns underneath here to separate each section. So going back to look at the layout of the villa, by the way, I have looked at so many pictures and angles of this thing over the past couple days. It's insane. But basically the Love Island villa is separated into different hangout spots and seating areas. It's a colorful, campy, neon mess of a place, really, with a bunch of different themed hangout spots. But then we also have the giant pool, the fire pit, the gym, soul ties. The list goes on. So we're gonna start decorating some of those areas. I'm gonna start by adding my stairs over to this corner. Maybe I'll move it over a little bit so we don't get that weird fencing gap. I'm adding fencing here to close that off. And then it looks like there's a big rooftop garden. So we'll change up the fencing here and I'll reserve that spot for the garden. I think I'm gonna raise a section of this up onto a platform, and then we can also add some stairs right here. And then I think I'm gonna add some other platformed areas around as well. So like under here, I'll add one right here for the kitchen. And then over here, there's this weird rounded like couch area. The couches are all layered up on platforms. It's kind of hard to explain. So over here, I'm just raising up a series of platforms. I have no idea how we're gonna pull this part off yet, but we can at least get the platforms figured out. Okay, platforms are sorted. Let's start filling this thing in. Like I said, the decor here and like the wall decor is kind of campy. So we're going to be using this base game wallpaper and we're gonna use it to color in some of these spots. So like we're gonna be switching between the pink and the yellow like that. I think I can have the same thing going through this section. I'll just change some of it up with the pink. Back here, we're just gonna go plain white because I think in this section there's like a plant wall. I'm doing the same thing over here for the kitchen. By the way, I didn't mention this, but I'm going based off of like the newest Love Island USA seasons just because those are the only ones that I've seen. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I did accidentally fall into the Love Island universe. I was in Ireland. I needed to put something on my TV to fall asleep. So I put on Love Island thinking like it's halfway through the season, like the UK version. I have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna be able to sleep just fine. Obviously, that was not the case. I did not fall asleep. I was sitting there with like one eye open trying to pay attention to the drama. And that was a couple months ago, so when I got home, I realized we were halfway through the Love Island season 7 of the USA version. So obviously I caught up, watched the whole thing, and now I'm binging season 6. I'm almost done. It's kind of a vortex, actually. I feel like I will never leave. But I obviously need to get through this season so I can watch the new show, Beyond the Villa. I can't just pop into that and not know the lore. Anyway, right now I'm working on the giant pool. I don't know why, because they never go in there. But at the end of the pool, they have this rounded bit that looks like a round jacuzzi. We're gonna sort of DIY that. I think this will work if I go under fountain decorations and we grab this base game fountain. I'm gonna place that in the pool and size it up, and then we're gonna raise it up using move objects, and I'm gonna place it right here. Then it's gonna sort of look like that rounded part. I don't know, I feel like it looks cool. And then one thing I noticed while looking at endless pictures and video footage of the villa, they love a plant in a box. They are all over the place, so I'm gonna be using like window boxes. These ones are from Discover University. I'm just placing them around the pool. Get to Work also has a good one that we can maybe size up and put like this. And then maybe we add a couple around the pool as well. Okay, yeah, for now I'm happy with that. I'm also gonna change the water paint to this sparkling one from Get Together. That kind of looks more like it. And then I'm also gonna just quickly fill in this rooftop garden using these island living patches of grass. Okay, let's start decorating some of the spaces. So over here, I'm pretty sure they have this big yellow sectional couch with tons of pillows. I feel like whenever the girls have to talk about like some drama or debrief or something, they'll come sit here. Also, these dream home decorator sectionals are gonna come in really clutch in this build. So nice big couch right there. I want to get a coffee table. I think I'll use this one also from Dream Home Decorator. For end tables, I feel like we have to use this heart one from Love Struck, like obviously, right? I'll add a rug. This one is from the Comfy Gamer Kit. And then we are gonna add a ton of pillows. I think we can switch between using these ones from Base Game and the Modern Luxe Kit. So I'm just gonna raise a bunch of these up. We're gonna make it look nice and comfy. A lot of the color scheme in this season at least is like pink, purple, orange, yellow. It's like super bold and vibrant, so we're definitely going to be bringing a lot of that. And then speaking of bold and vibrant, we're gonna grab our first neon sign of the day. There are going to be many, but I think I'm gonna try and use one of these from Love Struck. Yeah, let's add this. I'm gonna size it up and then I'll place it right behind the couch, but I think I'm gonna put another smaller one inside it. Maybe we can do something like that. But then also I do want to add a little more dimension to the walls. I feel like some parts on the wall kind of stick out. So what I'm gonna do is grab this faux wall. This is from the Sleek Bathroom Kit, and I'm gonna raise it up and I'm gonna have it just going along the top like this. I'm gonna have to adjust my neon sign that I just placed, but this is gonna go all the way up to the top, and we could even get funky with this. You could even go in with this and add checkers if you wanted like a 3D checker wall situation. Here, let me show you. Like, I don't know, something like that looks cool. These stick out from the wall too, so you could add like a planty wall feature in behind. I think I'm gonna save this idea for a different spot in the villa, because like I do also like how that looks. But yeah, let's put that back. I'm gonna bring back my neon sign. We'll add some tropical plants in the back, and this is our first area. I added some strip lights underneath the half wall, and I also went in with these little lights. These are the orb lights from My Wedding Stories. Those are also kind of scattered all over the place. Oh, and they are always seen with these water bottles that are just like plain white, but they have their name on them. I've been watching too much of this show, you guys. But there they are. Those are from the Comfy Gamer Kit. Let's keep carrying along. I'm gonna add some more plants in a box. These ones are from Businesses and Hobbies. I think I'll just line this whole section with them. We'll grab another neon sign. This one is from the Comfy Gamer Kit. Just gonna have to raise that up. And back here, I'm gonna add some beanbag chairs from high school years. I'm gonna keep adding these orb lights as we go. So there we have that little transition spot there. I also added some of the little campers fairy lights. We will definitely have our fair share of fairy lights, so that's the first one. Then actually up top here, I'm just gonna delete this fence, and I'm gonna use this hedge here as a fence. So I'm just gonna place that along like this, and then I'm gonna find another version of that Love Struck neon light, and I'm gonna raise that up so they're gonna be sitting in the hedge. And I think I'll add 3 of them, so we'll just have them connecting like this. In one of the versions, I saw X's and O's in the hedges, and I thought it was really cute. So we have that, and then I've also added some glass like windows and doors up here. That'll be the get ready room. We're not quite there yet. So let's tackle this rounded couch area. There There are some rounded couches that we could just place up here. It is really like the weirdest section. It's like couch stairs, but I feel like this looks dumb. Even if I tried changing some of the swatches so it's not the same, we could try it with one couch down below, and then up top, there are rounded versions of the Dream Home Decorator sectionals. So we could try and just do a rounded sectional up there. Like maybe this works. I don't know. This is probably the only spot in the villa that we're not going to be able to replicate perfectly. We could attempt our plant wall checkerboard thing here. It's going to cut off right there though, so I'm just going to use these lights to section it off. This set design is really interesting too because we'll see that rounded seating a lot, and there's actually a reason why they do it that way. It's basically so that whenever people are sitting there, the circular shape of the furniture actually makes it so that everyone has to like face each other. That circular design also makes people feel like they have to sit closer to each other. I don't know what the science behind that is. It's interesting when you really try and like break it down and dissect it. It's like everything has a purpose, even the furniture is being manipulative. I'm gonna pull this spot together by sizing up some of the lights from the Party Essentials kit, and I'm also coming into live mode and changing the color of these lights. I'm obsessed with this so far. This is turning out so good. I did have these debug Lovestruck panels over here earlier, then I deleted them because I wasn't sure about them because they're floating, but I feel like I could cover that up with the half wall at the bottom. Like we could grab these and put them down here like this. Then we can put some couches in front of that. These ones are from Parenthood. I'm placing this end table in between them. And then this spot is where they have their ping pong table, which we can use from Discover University. And we'll just add a random base game statue right there on the table. All right, so next to this, we have the kitchen. They have this big rounded island piece where they cook breakfast. I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna use this rounded bar from Lovestruck. Ironic that we're using a lot of the Sims 4 Lovestruck in this build. The Lovestruck pack designers were definitely Love Island girlies. I'm calling it. They basically have these chairs exactly. And then in the back, this is where we're gonna have our essentials. These base game counters match the vibe, so I'm gonna bring those all the way across. We use a flat top stove. I'll add my sink here. Trash cans we can kind of hide under the stairs. Oh, and I also want to have a coffee maker. I feel like they're also always making like ham and cheese sandwiches. And honestly, that is all I would be doing. I feel like I would eat so much on Love Island because like they take your phone away. You gotta get bored eventually. I'm gonna add more planters right here as decor. And there we have our kitchen. We're pretty much done with the bottom floor. We still have all of the spaces over here like the gym and the fire pit and stuff like that. But for underneath this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna carry on with some of these upper spaces. I'm gonna add these umbrellas. Here we can have some day beds. I've also been using some of these vertical lines. Those are from City Living. Oh, and My Wedding Stories also has this backsplash. I'm gonna add that right there. This can just be another seating area. I'm adding in those Lovestruck lights decor. This one can be kind of similar to the first one we did with this coffee table. We can add some flowers on there, and that's gonna lead us over to Soul Ties. This one I've been a little worried about, honestly, because Soul Ties is basically this big hollowed out bed. I think they actually took a jacuzzi and just emptied it out, and they placed pillows in there, and that's where people can go and sleep sometimes. The rounded furniture effect really works its magic here. So we're gonna take a rounded platform. I'm gonna do this over to the side so we don't mess anything up. So I'm trying to make this piece as small as possible. Then I'm gonna grab it and copy it, and I'll place that right beside. Then we have a half circle. All we have to do is copy that and flip it, and hopefully this is gonna be our Soul Ties. What I'm gonna do is grab that. I already have this second floor up on a platform, so hopefully I can place this and it'll shrink down like that. It's not a perfect circle because platforms are just annoying in this game sometimes, but it'll work. And then in there, I'm gonna add some carpet. We're gonna have some glitching coming out on the sides too. We can just cover it up. Actually, what if we added a fence? I should be able to just add a fence around it like this, and then we get a little more of a circular shape. We still have the glitching outside there, but maybe we can shrink some of these plants and place them beside, just like trying to cover it up. I'm also going to be going in and adding pillows and stuff in here too. Oh, and you know what we could do so we actually get people laying in here? From Lovestruck, we can add the romantic blanket. So Sims can like cuddle up on there, they can woohoo on there, they can have like picnics and stuff, so that's perfect. And then we just have to fill this entire thing with pillows, which I might size up, and I'll just place these all around. I can't believe this worked. And here we have our Soul Ties. I am shocked. This was the one thing I was worried about when I thought about building this. I didn't know how we were going to get that rounded shape to work, but we did. I did also just go ahead and furnish the rest of these upper spaces. Like I added some cameras up here, not a whole lot happening. There's some seating, and I added a stairway over to this side leading upstairs. Look at this thing. It's looking so good so far. are. I'm gonna bring some flooring over here. This is going to be the exit and also where we have the dock. Both are gonna be important features of this build because later this build is gonna take a dark turn. But before we get there, I'm gonna carve out another seating space right here. And on top of it, I'm gonna start using pergolas. I feel like this one has sand for some reason, which is kind of weird. But in this one, I'm gonna use this seating set from Seasons. I'll lay them out like that. And then I think behind it, I wanna make this garden section. So I'm gonna use a lot of the tropical plants from like Jungle Adventure and Island Living. We can use some of the grass flooring to close that in. And I'm also gonna close this in using that base game fence here. We could, for more fencing, use this half wall trick. So I've built this half wall. I'm gonna use some white wallpaper and some white trim. And then in there, I'm gonna use these hedges. I'm just gonna shrink them once and it's going to look like the planter boxes that we have literally everywhere. So I'm just gonna keep shrinking them and putting them all along. We can even change up the colors in here for some variety. And then I'll keep bringing that same trick over this way. So over here we have the gym. This is where we're gonna have all our workout equipment. We're going to have a treadmill. Let's add a couple of these. I feel like this is like the most popular one to use. And then also from Lovestruck, we have the gym weight clutter. So I'm gonna add these in. I'm gonna change up the swatches on them. The everyday clutter kit also has these yoga mats we can add in. And then I think just to fill up this space, I'm gonna add some pool loungers. We're gonna have one more seating area similar to the one that I built to the left, but we'll delete this furniture and I'll replace it with some different furniture. Like the day bed, Sims can actually sleep on here and it can be really cozy. And then I'm also just starting to place these fairy lights. They're from City Living. I'm gonna raise up this grass flooring section. We're gonna have some more beanbag chairs here. I wanna add some poofs from the movie Hangout stuff pack. And we need a bar table. So this can actually act as our dining. We'll use those base game chairs here again. Ooh, and we definitely need the VIP bucket. This item in The Sims 4 will get your Sims flirty just by enabling the aura from it. And then for the fire pit, I'm gonna keep building this way and maybe we'll build it up one more level. I'm gonna add some palm trees back here and this is where we have to make the iconic fire pit. This is where all of the drama goes down. This is where people get eliminated. Sometimes they have challenges up here. So we'll add our fire pit right here in the center. We're gonna use those nice big rounded sectionals. We'll just connect those over like this. Again, the rounded furniture so you can stare at everyone who stabs you in the back. I'm gonna add some planters behind here. I think I made this a little too big, so I'm just gonna bring it all forward. We can fill this entire back part in here with plants. We're gonna add one more pergola section over to this side. Then we're gonna add an obnoxious amount of fairy lights. This is how the final pergola seating area turned out. It's really fun here with the blue and the purple. And here's the outside all complete. In my opinion, this turned out way more accurate than I could have ever expected. And it looks like such a fun time for Sims. Also, gameplay is gonna be nice because you'll be able to see them everywhere. Since it's wide open, that was literally the intention for filming purposes as well. It is so cool. I love all of the different sections. The only thing I need to do for the outside is I have to go ahead and build the dock. So I'm gonna use a flooring piece. I'm gonna add that on and we're gonna bring it out like this. And then I'll just build the dock shape out as well. We'll add our flooring and then we can just click on here to raise it up. That way I can change my foundation to the stilt foundation and then we can add all our water. I ideally wanted this to be on an oceanfront lot so that we could build the dock onto the ocean properly. But the thing about waterfront lots in The Sims 4 is you can't actually build any pools. It just like won't let you do it. And we need the pool. It's like one of the most recognizable parts. So this is just gonna have to be our ocean. We could actually even make this smaller. It's not that big of a dock. For our plant options out here, I think I'm gonna use these from high school years. We could add some seating out here. I think I'm just gonna have like the flat pieces like this. Oh, and these City Living planters are good too. So I added some lights out here. This is what our dock is looking like. I added a boat. This can be how our contestants arrive. And I also added some more landscaping in the water too, like some of the Island Living plants, some debug rocks. And that is the outside of the back of the villa all complete. Before I go and do the rest of the rooms in this house, we are gonna do the upper floor and it's all gonna be Love Island. We're gonna have the get ready room. We can have a bathroom here and we'll have the bedrooms. For the get ready room, this is obviously where all the girls get ready for the day. They do their makeup, their clothes are in here. So I'm just adding these individual desks. I'm gonna put them all together like this. Then they can each have their own chair and it won't take up as much space. And then from the everyday clutter kit, I wanna go in and add these mirrors. There are different swatches for these too, so we can change them up and have like a little bit of variety. Also from the everyday clutter kit, we have this makeup. So I'm gonna add these onto each of the desks as well. I don't think this layout is super exact. We're gonna have a hallway leading into the bedrooms. I'm gonna do a makeshift closet right here and right here for the boys. And we can just open those up with archways. I'll add some mirror walls in here. Notice how there are no windows on the front part of the house. That's important. Keep that in mind. Ooh, we could do the Love Struck lip seat, maybe also with some of the Love Struck decals. And then we could add these fairy lights going around the mirror. These came with businesses and hobbies. It's really easy to just like place these wherever. We'll add a pink rug. This is where I wanted to place our closet, so we'll place those like that. And then just in case we do have to cover up some windows, I'm gonna use these curtains from the luxury party kit. They're also just gonna look really cool behind our clothes. Like once I start clipping these in, you're gonna see the shimmery curtain behind it. Okay, so this is our get ready room. I added all of the makeup on the tables. I added some more clutter here. I also added some of the RGB lights from high school years and changed them to pink. We have some plants going on over to this side. I also just did the closet for the boys over here too. Then for the bathroom, I wanted to make a walk-in shower. I'm gonna use that pool tile from Love Struck. Then we can use regular spa day tile on the floor and maybe just some basic white tile in the main room. Then we can add our shower door. We can do a double shower moment in here. I'll add my counters here for a double sink. The only thing I don't think we'll have two of is the toilet. I am gonna add these big mirrors from Get Famous. Yeah, our toilet is just gonna go right here and we can use that half wall for its actual intended purpose. And then I think on the counters I'll just add little clutter pieces. We can have a rug, some wall plants. So there we have our bathroom. I added more clutter in the shower as well. More neon, obviously. I added a little bench from Spa Day over there. So far, love it. And then we're gonna go and do the bedroom next. So in Love Island, they all share a bedroom, which is so weird to me, but that's just how it is. Everyone has to share the one room. And then at the end of each bed, they have a dresser, which has their names on it. So everybody gets a dresser. Everybody will also get an end table. And then I think behind the bed, I'm gonna add these in pink. Just as decor, I'll place them behind every bed. And then I'm also gonna decorate with the neon lines from Spa Day. I guess we can put some windows on this side at least. And then I want to decorate with some of the tacky Love Struck art, like these pictures. The lip one, we can shrink and go to this side. And there we go. We've got our Love Island bedroom all figured out. I added some extra seating over there, some extra mirrors. Here are the beds all over to this side. We've got our closet again. And now we're done with our Love Island portion of this video. However, I did mention that our contestants were arriving here by boat, meaning this is all they see of the villa. They don't ever see the front unless they get voted off at the fire pit, in which case they would have to walk all the way down here to leave. Notice how I added their little white suitcases over here as well, but they would have to go out this exit. Love Island is filmed in Fiji. What else is filmed in Fiji? Survivor. Everybody knows about Survivor. There have been 48 seasons of Survivor. This show started in 2000. It's been renewed for season 49 and 50. Like, Survivor is still going strong. In this show, survivors are left to fend for themselves on an island, which is now Fiji. The location used to be in random different spots, but it seems like now it's set in Fiji. And one by one, they vote each other off until the game has one sole survivor who wins $1 million. So when our Love Island contestants get voted off, they are going to be finding themselves on Survivor. This is going to be a business in the front, party in the back situation. I want the bottom floors and the front of this thing to be run down, and will include some of the darker reality TV shows that are out there. So this room and surrounding area will be our Survivor room. So I deleted the floor and I want to make like a tribal council situation. I found this stone flooring from Journey to Batu, and to do this we're gonna need some torches. My go-to thought was this one from Island Living, and I think we will use these around, like I'll put these in the corners. But then for our actual torches, I was thinking about using these from Life and Death. So I'll place these around in the corner like this. The torches represent your life in Survivor, and if they get snuffed out, that represents like the end of your game. I also want to add these little stools in front, like this is where they would sit. I love Survivor. I have been watching Survivor for years. I kind of fell off watching it like a few years ago, but I got back into it. I think I've watched the past like 3 seasons now because my family and I literally run this like Survivor fantasy group. Like basically it's like fantasy football, but for Survivor. So you like draft your team, which is basically just a couple players who you think are going to make it to the end. And then every week you kind of vote on who you think is going to get taken out. It's really fun. I won last season and I do plan to win again. Along the top here, I'm adding some Journey to Batu flags. You usually start out with 3 teams on Survivor, so I'm gonna have 3 different flags just representing the different tribes. And then when you get voted out at a certain point in the game, there's a jury that'll like sit in on tribal council. So I'm adding these little log benches for them. We need a different chair for Jeff. And then I was trying to think of how we could get Sims to actually vote in this scenario. And then I remembered the voting box from high school years. You basically use this to vote for your prom king and queen, but like in this situation, you'd be voting someone off the island. We'll dim the lighting in here. I'm gonna delete some of the overhead light and I'm gonna add these tent props from Get Famous. These are not functional. They're too small to be functional, but you don't actually get a tent in Survivor anyway. You're sleeping outside. So that's what our Sims are gonna be forced to do. I think as decor, I'm just gonna add these from Werewolves. They're meant to go over curtains, but I'm just gonna have them draped down like this. And then maybe we can also just bring in some of the tropical plants. So this is our Survivor themed room. Our tribal council, we've got our torches lit back there. I also added some little backpacks because they always have like a pack with them. I added more landscaping over to this side. We've got the torches. This build is ridiculous. Oh, I'm also going in and hiding like little immunity idols, like this little thing from Strangerville. I'm just like hiding it in the grass. I am gonna come back and do some more Survivor stuff outside, but I want to move on to the next room. And I was thinking about another dark reality show. So what if we did a Traitors room? Traitors is one of the newer ones that we're covering today, so you may or may not have heard of it, but it's like this murder mystery role-playing game where they randomly assign a few contestants as traitors. Everyone else in the house is a faithful and they must figure out who the traitors are. One thing about me is I love a theme. I love it when the contestants get into character. Alan Cumming is probably my favorite host on television right now. The outfits he wears and the character that he plays, I'm just obsessed. So in this show, they have a round table. This is where they try and figure out who they're gonna vote off and who is the traitor. So there's my round table. It's way smaller than the one that they use, but it'll do. The set on this one is also really cool because it's in like this dark academia setting. Like they film in this castle in Scotland and there are secret bookshelf doors. It's a whole vibe. So this is our round table room. They also have a wall of these pictures which represent past and present contestants. So if you get voted off, you get a nice big red slash through your picture. Do we add a secret bookshelf door? I feel like we have to. We'll use this one here from the Secret Sanctuary kit. So that's our Traitors inspired room. We have our pictures, our bookshelves. In terms of our storyline here, this door would probably be locked. So maybe if you win a challenge on Survivor, you could come in here for the night, have a little chat, talk a little strategy. And then the final one we're going to be doing today will be for Hell's Kitchen. This is another like darker themed one I thought of. It's hosted by celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay, and on the show, 2 teams of chefs compete against each other, and if they can prove themselves, one chef at the end will be chosen as a head chef in one of Gordon Ramsay's exclusive restaurants. So I'm actually gonna section this off. That neon sign looks like it's down here, but it's not. It's actually just like raised up in soul ties. I want one half of this here to be blue, and the other half is gonna be red. Those are usually the colors that they get separated into. And I guess in the back here, we can make this into a pantry. We can have the restaurant doors from Dine Out. I think I'm gonna separate that part there so I can add some columns. And then this is gonna be one big industrial kitchen. We're gonna have double fridges right here. We'll have a big neon Hell's Kitchen sign right above that. And then I'm also gonna be using the industrial counters from Dine Out. We'll wrap those all the way around. And then I'm gonna replace the counters on each side with a double oven. Then we can have an island space in the middle. I also wanna add pots and pans clutter like everywhere. And then I'll use base game cabinets up top. Okay, so here's our Hell's Kitchen room. We have our cluttered counters, but we have the island pieces for prep. Obviously, the Hell's Kitchen sign over there. I should definitely include some smoke detectors just in case, or maybe that's part of it. We have our trash cans over on this side. And then in here, I really did not have much room. I kind of just have this little room back here so that this wall was flat. So I just turned that into a pantry. We've got some storage. I also have the blue and red apron prints hanging on the wall. For this front section, I just started adding a big fire pit with some log seating for the survivor outdoor theme. I also have some vines going up the side. Obviously, like, it doesn't look good out here. Even with some of the landscaping that I added, like, I want this to look run down. For gameplay purposes though, we do need a mailbox. So we can add this one from werewolves. And we're just gonna finish this off by adding even more plants coming from the ceiling. I was trying to think of something smaller we could add as like a skill item for like challenges for Survivor. So I'm adding these little marble rings. This is turning into Squid Game. And this is the rundown side of our villa, all complete. This is so funny to me. I thought about trying to build like a makeshift fort for them to sleep on, but Sims can just go and like sleep here. If you have Enchanted by Nature, you could do that with the natural living skill. So that is that all complete. Here it is all together. This was such a fun build for me to do. This is literally my entire life right now, especially Love Island, as you can tell. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know if you like this video, which room was your favorite, and if you guys like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.